and my competitive energy. Just be quiet.
I'm trying to figure out, and listen, love y'all down, and I'm not picking up Jess's cross. But as a Black woman, when we are...
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackburn 91. We're talking to you guys, well, about Janelle and talking about Jessica. And if you didn't see it, let me open your eyes to see it. Because this is very much like Zadia and Kamile all over again. Mean girls, double duo. One's more of the fighter, the other one's more of a talker. But either way, they're both just mean girls according to their season. I'm sure Kamile probably have different views on that. But as far as I'm concerned, both Kamile and Zadia were mean girls on their season. And their castmates told us so. And on this season, again, you have both Jessica and we have Janelle. And the castmates are saying the same thing. They are both mean girls in the way they behave, right? And the way they go about their business. So it's so interesting. I saw this repetition of this duo. And it's very similar because Janelle, just like Zadia, and I said this already, Janelle is more absolutely combative, is the first one to fight and first one to get up and do fight. Even in this scene here, what she says, which is, I'm not trying to take up the cross for Jessica, and then proceeds to go and take up the cross for Jessica. And if you watch the facial expressions of everybody in there, you can tell that they don't really want to be there. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to it. They don't want to talk about it because these two are both combative people. They're ready to fight. Now, people don't want to see Jessica's combative because they don't see her literally fighting or standing up and screaming and shouting. But you're ready for a fight. You're ready to debate. You're ready to argue in confrontational aspects, right? So if that's a better word for you, maybe you don't want to say combative. You want to say confrontational. Don't matter. It's a C word. They had an issue with it anyway. But you know, so this is so interesting because I saw that duo and I was like, it reminded me of Kamile and Zadia all over again. And if you don't remember, Zadia went into Phil's house, had an absolute with a hoodie on, ready to fight people. If you remember that season, crazy season. But we're going to get into all of that into this next video. But I need you to do me a massive favor. Like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We're trying to get to 100K. You guys are doing a fabulous job. You are taking us there. We appreciate it. Let's get ourselves to 100K by the end of this year. You guys are doing some great things, subbing. And if you haven't done so already, join our membership. Our membership, okay? All right, it's £1, $1, and we'd love to see you guys every other week for the live membership discussions. All right, let's get into this. I don't want to waste much time. I want to get straight into this about what I saw in this particular scene, because this confrontation here reminded me of Kamile and Zadia, and you know, confronting almost the group with Tommy last few seasons back in their season.
Constantly attacked. I'm trying to figure out how y'all were comfortable using that word.
It's not a y'all.
It's not a y'all.
That's not a y'all.
Now, I want to talk about this on another video, but I want to mention this on this video. The man them, all of them, done each other disservice. They did Chris a disservice, and Chris did a disservice to himself. Maury did a disservice to himself and did a disservice to Chris. Quinton definitely did a disservice by trying to suck up to Janelle and Jessica, saying about definitely wasn't combative. I was like, oh, baby. But they definitely did a disservice. And the reason I say that is because the reporting back to say why somebody's in the bottom, if Chris is the only one who voted her to the bottom, why is that the only word that they're using to describe her? If Chris is the only one that voted for her to be at the bottom, then production got involved, and production are the ones who pushed the word combative to Maury to come and say, because if Chris is the only one that's ever said she's combative, why would you take his word, Maury, and say it to the rest of the group? Why would the group allow, okay, that to be said and not correct it and say, I definitely didn't believe in that, but it waited to be confronted before they done that? Anyway, it's another video. Let's stick with this topic. Janelle and Jessica, their situation, you know, I mean, just the faces of these people, just look at the faces. You know, they don't look happy. They don't look happy. They don't look like they want to be there.
Very strong word.
And not to make it a matter of throwing anybody under the bus, but there's no consensus on the verbiage at all.
So there's no consensus on the verbiage, and it can only be Maury. That's the issue. But the reality of the situation is, what did you guys actually say about her then? right? Why did Morier take only Chris's words to present it to Jessica? Jessica's not even Chris's person who he wants anymore. He's been saying it for a very long time. He doesn't want Jessica. So what is it that? Why is it that? Why? Okay, I'll do that in another video because I'm crossing over and I'm trying to do more than one video at a time. Jessica and Janelle have teamed up on this episode. They did it for Tequila. They teamed up on her, and you know they managed to get her out, and hence why Tequila was so annoyed at Jessica at a time.
Bring her a little
because
comfort ice.
Jessica likes to throw stuff and hide her hands and pretend as if she never did nothing, like she's not a part of the situation. Yet Tequila identified her, and we were all wondering why Tequila identified Jessica in the situation when we never saw anything in that clip between herself and Janelle. Well, it's quite obvious now why we see it. And I'm not saying that she's the only one at fault. I've already blamed Chris before. I've already said Chris is an issue. But with Janelle and Jessica, they've got together, become a duo, and doubled up. And they've looked to, I like to say, they hunt, pray, and shoot them down. And it's very similar to Jessica, to Zadia and Kamile, because they did that in their season. They were trying to round up people to get them out. They were factioning and trying to double up and team up and trying to get certain people out who they wanted out. So it's very similar. The only difference is that I think Zadia had a connection with Dante and Kamile had a connection with Cornelius, right? But in terms of what their action was, in terms of what their mission was, what their agenda was, exactly the same. They ain't missed a heartbeat, not one. Let's have a look. What is this?
Oh, do I get guys? Listen, I figured that's the least I could do, and kind of listen to her and see how she's feeling right now.
For me, like I'm very big on honesty.
Right.
I don't care about being in the bottom.
Right.
Now, you know, she says obviously she doesn't care about being in the bottom, and you know, she cares about honesty and yada yada yada. You know, people always say those big words when they don't really mean it. Like all I care about is honesty. But I mean, to be honest, there is some truth in that. You do care about honesty. Let me not lie. But these two now get together and have a conversation. It's really interesting. So they start discussing, and Janelle's trying to put a battery in Jessica's back by saying, you know, you deserve to react the way you're reacting. You deserve to be the way you are. You know, at the end of the day, it's their problem, their fault. And I'm like, why is she putting a battery? She's trying to put a battery in Jessica's back. Now, Jessica isn't necessarily the most, I wouldn't say the most confrontational. I see that it's more being Janelle's thing. And that's why it's very similar, because Kamile, yes, we heard the country bunking thing, but you never really saw her be as ready to fight per se as we did with Zadia, right? Or what we heard with Zadia. It was very different. So again, you've got the two, one conservative and one active. One person who's a bit more chill, another person who's far more ready to go to those places. That Janelle and Zadia, very similar. Ready to go and put action in. My God. Let's listen a bit more.
Right. Like I'm not really upset about that. My thing was just when I polled the room and I asked each and every one of them, did you say it? The only person who couldn't look me in my face was the person who I knew said it. Right. That's the part.
Now, now this is where it's interesting, because it's why I think Jessica is very confrontational, but it doesn't appear the same way. Because you see that person, you're like, she's not getting in your face. No, she fights in a different way. She fights in the shadows. And so what she does is she tries to now create a witch hunt based upon this word. Let's be freaking honest. You could have gone back to the group and said, listen, look, let's address this aspect of combative. I don't think I'm combative. I don't think I'm this, but why? Let's hash it out. Why do you think why was that particular premise, right? I know you wanted them to admit it, but you're only going to admit it. You're only going to admit it and probably use it against them, or come at guns blazing. And the reality of the situation is then she sets this witch hunt on and there's traps for Chris, you know, from this point onwards. And it's like, I'm only going to look out for me, and she's only going to look out for herself. And what I saw was, okay, all right, cool, nicely played there, Chris. I'm gonna get you. Huh. You think you can play me? Oh, dog will be in. No, Jake, let me start that. But you know what I mean? Let's play a little bit more.
Hard to burn me up. Because if that's how you feel, and those are your experiences, you can have those.
Yeah.
That is fair.
You get to experience me however you want. Correct.
But when I ask you, and you.
And let me be very honest too. What's said in the lounges doesn't have to come out. Why does it have to come out? It's interesting. I was watching Married 10 Years, and she said a very interesting point too. This was said in the lounge. So why did it come? This was in the lounge. So why do you want him to admit it? The words were used by Morier to check Morier. Why are we checking Chris? Chris didn't say it to you. If he didn't say it to you, then you can't go on it based on what was said in the lounge. If you want to ask what a combative was, ask Morier what that means. Because Morie's the one that said it. Why did you say that, Morie? You should be confronting Morie about why he said it rather than confronting Chris. But you got a witch hunt based on Chris now, because I know he's the one that said it. And so the one who said it to you was Morie. He didn't have to choose those words, but just so focused on Chris. And it's instant because he doesn't want you no more. So it's giving bitter, it's giving unforgiving, it's giving somebody who wants to ruin someone, right? And someone who's hurt and wounded and can't let it go. I'm not saying Chris is perfect. I'm not saying Chris is the best candidate even. He's got some flaws he's going to have to work on and sit on the bench and heal. But let's not pretend as if the reason why you're going after Chris is because there's some holy aspect of not calling black women combative. No, you're doing it because you hurt by Chris. You hurt by what he did, by calling you combative. And so you're like, I'm going to get you back. Hey, I'm not mad. It's a game, but we have to call it what it is.
You lie.
Yeah.
Now I have a problem with you.
We have two mishaps here. One, that the word was used, combative, and then two, that it was carried out.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, you know, that Janelle, again, too, as well, is like, hey, look, I want to remind you, you got two of them that you got to take out. 2 birds, 1 stone, baby. You got to take them out. Because, Morie, why do you have to choose those words? And she's right. Why does she have to choose those words? Why do you have to choose those words, Morie? There was no need to. But I think he did it because subconsciously, I think you believe that she is that particular way. I do feel subconsciously, you do feel like she is combative, but you want to pull it off onto the other guys and in fact, and not say anything, but make it so that other guys had an issue, which they probably did. But the reality was that Chris kind of said it a little bit earlier on, but you took it and ran with it. Right? So yeah, Jessica and Janelle, they've got that same duo spirit that we saw with you know, Kamile and Zadia, and how they were terrorizing their year group, how they were terrorizing their particular contestants or fellow colleagues or fellow castmates. They were terrorizing those people, right? So I don't see any different here. It's just the way it's being done differently.
Yeah.
So where do you feel about Morie right now?
I don't know. Like, I don't trust you. Ooh. I don't trust you.
Ain't it crazy? But no, yeah, listen, let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you think you see the same resemblance between Janelle, Jessica, Zadia, and Kamile? I mean, I remember during the times of Zadia and Kamile, you know, how they were team up on with the girls. They had the light skin or the dark skin group or whatever. It was a lot of things going on between those two. But more so, Zadia was always in something, fighting somebody, cussing somebody, something, doing this, hitting, She was doing a lot. Whereas Kamile was a bit more chill, but she also had her hang-ups as well. But yeah, listen, let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you just agree with me? Like, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, loaded.